Well, welcome to our poetry showcase and celebration. I am Dr. Lynn Shaffer. I'm a professor of English here at the college. And just tell you a little bit about the competition that we've had recently, our student poetry contest. I started that, gosh, I think it's 9 years now. I think so. Started it 9 years ago because I was seeing a lot of talented students, students who were excellent writers, thinkers, just interesting people. And I wanted to find a way to recognize that and give them some recognition for what they can do. And so we started the essay competition came next. The poetry was first, and now every year in fall, we have our essay contest for students. And then every spring, we have our poetry. And I don't know if you all know, but April is National Poetry Month. So this is a wonderful time to celebrate student writing and poetry. And so with the poetry contest, students were asked to enter their original work. And we read it anonymously. The English faculty all read and selected finalists. And those finalists are always sent to our guest judge and featured reader, and we are so fortunate that this year it was Mr. Frank X. Walker here, who I will be talking more about later. Frank's been here once before, and he got such a good reception that we wanted to have him back, so we're very lucky for that. So what I would like to do is just first read the names of the student poets who submitted work and recognize them for that. As a writer myself, I know what it's like to put your work out into the world and then let someone judge it. Makes you kind of vulnerable, and it's a very brave and wonderful thing to do. So I'd like us to read the names and give them a round of applause. Jennifer Bailey, Amy Brossert, Deborah Wireman Collins, Kelly Crawford, Deborah Curtis, Jandy R. Doyle, Franklin Graham, China Hall, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, Priscilla Jones, Brenda Lyons, Amanda McGuffey, Crystal Pugh, and Kevin C. Redden. Also, I should mention before we get started with our student readers for today, we do have refreshments, lots of yummies in the back, so help yourself now or during and after. The food will be here for a while after the event, so feel free to partake of that. Okay. So what we're going to do, if you have a program handy, you'll see that we're going to be treated to readings by the student writers, and then we will have our featured reader for today as well. Okay. So our first reader, I hope he's here. And by the way, writers, if you do not have a copy of your poem with you, I do have copies as well. So you're set. Okay. Is Ricky Boggs here? There he is. If you can make it up here, Ricky. Sort of feel like the price is right all of a sudden. Do you want to jump up and down and run screaming toward me? No? That would make for good video. Would you like a copy of your poem? Okay. Yes, sir. This one.
All right, so this is my first time speaking in front of people, so I apologize. All right, mine is, my poem's called To Live as Brothers. Few could inspire as much as this man. At one point in time, he held the world in his hands, giving those without legs a pedestal to stand, those who can speak, a voice of command. Equality and freedom are the words that he spoke. Bet if he were alive now, he'd see the world as a joke. Ignorance and selfishness is all that I see. Is there anyone else who shares this opinion with me? That racism is still alive, still very much alive, and that freedom really isn't free. One look at today would break his heart. How come nothing caught flame when he created a spark? A light that once shone so bright has faded dark. What I wouldn't give to be alive, to march beside him in 65. Imagine what it was like to hear him sing. There was no man greater than Dr. King. Let's live life by his words and love each other. May it take baby steps, but we must learn to live as brothers.
I would not have known that was your first time reading, Ricky. Nicely done. Next up, we have Courtney Casebolt.
My poem is called Ship Called Suicide. Is this where I'm supposed to be, so strung out on misery? I don't like the life I'm living, never taking, always giving. I'll sit here and wait, drowning in my so-called hate. This ship called suicide will pull me from the barren shore. I won't ask for nothing anymore. This ship called suicide had me at this goodbye lullaby. I'll raise the sails, it steers me straight to hell. Oh, this ship called suicide, you're begging me to die. I lost the sight of fate, forgot this so-called grace. I took my weapons from the shelf, the rope, the gun, the knife, the pills. I've used them on myself, but no one's here to help. This ship called suicide will pull me from this barren shore. I won't ask for nothing anymore. This ship called suicide had me at this goodbye lullaby. I'll raise the sails as you steer me straight to hell. Oh, this ship called suicide, you're begging me to die. They say it's such a selfish act, taking the easy way out, that I'm pathetic and weak because I don't want to breathe. This is as selfless as it gets, you're better off without me, that's a fact. Nothing about this was easy. Misery was ending me. It takes every bit of strength to wait for the ship to sink. You swore you didn't notice the empty crimson roses that stained the shoreline the night I boarded the ship called suicide.
Next up, we have Carly Hauser. Oh, great.
Okay, before I read my poem, I just want to show you this picture. My poem's about my dog, and this is my dog, Charlie. Okay. Sorry. Okay. My poem is called The Rescue Dog. A fragile girl sits all alone upon a rusted swing. There's hatred on the playground, but she hasn't done a thing. Isolated in the crowd, she only wants a friend. If someone would just listen, but the torments never end. A fluffy shape sits in a cage, a scrawny basset hound. The shelter dogs will bark and whine, but he doesn't make a sound. He knows his share of anguish too. You can see it in his eyes. As he looks back with a steady gaze, so thoughtful, sad, and wise. Fate had it that these hearts would meet, two lost, forsaken souls. A pair of spirits broken that could finally be made whole. For now they had each other, gone were their days of gloom. But the question I must ask you is, who really rescued whom?
I'm gonna go pet my dog now. Next up, we have Tony Hutchison.
This is 42. There is no knowledge but that which is told. Seeking the face of God is easier when it's shown. Form over function, beauty is skin deep. Original thought is hopeless when everyone is asleep. Now nod your head and agree, even if you don't understand. Yours is but to do or die, so listen to good old Uncle Sam. Individualism is sacrilege, conformity is key. Give the crazy kid a gun, how different could it be? Socialist capitalism while the government writes a check. Borrowing a yellow dollar so that you can have food stamps. The I gots, the ain't gots, big screens and little thoughts, free lunch and high tops as the American dream rolls on. Did you ever stop to think about where all of this began? Have you ever wondered why we are the picture-perfect model of modern man? Who painted that picture? Who decided this was for the best? A cookie-cutter one-size-fits-all society of obsequiousness? Who left no room for thinking? Who took away our right to be? And does anyone give a damn? Anyone besides me? The revolution will not be televised. It won't even get an honorable mention. The ratings just weren't enough for anyone to pay attention. North Korea fires missiles. Iran has a nuke. A new disease is killing thousands. Change the channel. We're missing Teen Mom too. Pay attention. I can't afford to. I'm morally bankrupt. This recession of cognitive contemplation has left me little enough. You have the right to free speech. You have the right to worship freely. You have the right to remain silent. Am I missing something? This isn't about the fall of man or the downfall of civilization. This has nothing to do with social injustice or a cry for better education. This late show monologue disguised as intellectual conversation is nothing more than my attempt to give question to the ultimate answer.
Aren't you glad you're here? Next we have Richard Polley.
All right.
My life as a day. I stood and watched the sunrise as it struggled against the dark and listened as all creation sang its welcoming remark. A gentle breeze breathed on my cheek. I could almost taste the dew. This day had a life all its own, just birthed and still brand new. Just like the youth of this morning, life was once in front of me. Although untested, I was ready to be all that I could be. A cloud or two in the morning, followed by a few drops of rain. Midday had scarcely arrived, and already I knew its pain. But storms don't last forever, though at times they move real slow. Sometimes it takes some searching to see the promise of a rainbow. The day's labor has worn me down. There is just so much to be desired. A little rest here in the evening to enjoy the things I've acquired. The Bible says that a day is as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is as a day. It seems so many and yet so few, but how quickly they slip away. I stood and watched the sunset. It seemed to blush as I said goodbye. The grave of darkness reclaimed its possession. It's this day's time to die.
Tiffany Townsend. Is Tiffany here? Oh.
Oh, you're making me.
Okay, I got this. I'll stay on my tippy toes. Yeah, the life of a short person. I got it. Okay. Okay, mine is called Eyes of the Season because every person in my family has hazel eyes and I have blue. So, yeah. Mesmerizing like the moon, like the gleam of the moon, are your eyes. On a still lake, they shine in your reflection, lighting up the world on that midsummer's night eve. The midsummer's eve, my bad. Your eyes are like the leaves falling off October trees, changing the mood of everyone, beautiful with every color they turn, drawing me in. Closer and closer to those bitter cold months, your eyes become more like fire, trying to keep everyone warm, while thawing out the frozen earth. They succeed in bringing back all the color again. Your eyes watch people frolic from place to place until your eyes become the moon again.
Is Amy Williams here? Amy, we have 2 poems, I believe, from you. Yeah.
My first poem's called Child Rhyme. Roses are red, violets are blue. I used to think fairy tales were true. Little boy blue, come blow your horn, but that was before I was filled with scorn. Little Miss Muffet sat on her tuffet. I went to school and became a puppet. Hey diddle diddle, the cat and the fiddle. Want to know why I wrote this riddle? Slowly the man in the moon gave way to rocks. I put my childhood in a box. For in the world that exists today, there is no room for imaginary play. But if we could keep Little Boy Blue and Little Miss Muffet, would we still be little puppets? We need to think for ourselves and break free of our man-made selves. So don't forget our childhood friends, and maybe they'll keep us from a gruesome end. And I have one more. This one's called Just a Little Country. I ain't slopping no hogs, my house ain't made of logs. Never have I been a pickin' and a grinnin', nor drinking moonshine and a sinnin'. When I say come eat y'all, that turkey is a butterball. We don't eat roadkill or fetch water like Jack and Jill. While country living is fresh and clean, society makes it seem so obscene. Yes, we all love to dance and sing, but a twist tie ain't my wedding ring. My house ain't built on a set of wheels. We don't wear shorts with high heels. Patches don't cover holes in my jeans. My favorite food ain't pork and beans. My tulip ain't a hole in the ground. With my cousin, I don't mess around. While a little loving is fun in the hay, I'm a country girl, I'm proud to say.
Wonderful. I think we could sell copies of this, don't you? Next year. Well, next up, we have Mr. Frank X. Walker. Now, you know how you meet some people in life and you feel like they have a good spirit? You just know immediately before you know the person. Well, Frank is one of those people. Generous, talented, he's got it all. I'll read a little to you from his bio. Frank is from Danville, Kentucky, and he is talented in many different areas, so he's considered a multidisciplinary artist. He graduated from UK and got his MFA in writing at Spalding University. Frank lectures, does workshops, reads poetry, and exhibits artwork all over the place. The guy gets around. We were just chatting before this started, and I said, how do you actually find the time to write? And he works it out somehow. Frank is a founding member of the Appalachian Poets and the editor of America, What's My Name? The Other Poets Unfurl the Flag, as well as Eclipsing a Nappy New Millennium. And Frank, how many poetry collections do you have in all now? I don't think this is accurate.
6 in print at the end of this year, 9.
At the end of this year, you've got 3 more coming? Holy cow, I need to step up my writing game. Okay. He's won numerous awards, and when we send out the poems for everyone to see of the winners, I will also make sure I send out a link to Frank's page so that you can read everything in detail if you'd like to do that. I can tell you his poems have been converted into stage production by the UK Theatre Department, and lots of his poems you'll find anthologized in lots of publications. He's appeared on television in PBS's GED Connection series, contributed to Writing Our Stories, an anti-violence creative writing program curriculum guide. He's co-produced a really wonderful video documentary, Coal Black Voices, The History of the Appalachian Poets. And that won the 2002-2003 Jesse Stewart Award, given by the Kentucky School Media Association. His visual art, this is really cool, is in the private collections of people like Spike Lee, Opal Palmer, Adisa Morris, FX Jeff, and Bill and Camille Cosby, and on and on and on. Or you're currently teaching at UK, is that right? University of Kentucky. But rather than take more time listing Frank's accolades, I'm going to give you the pleasure of introducing him. Mr. Walker.
How about another hand for those wonderful poets earlier? I'm gonna back away from the mic since it's kind of loud to me at least. I'm gonna read a variety of poems just to, part of my job is to convince people that that they might want to give poetry a try, not just listen to it, but write in your own stories, and try to demystify the process and the place where poems come from. I mean, they come from my real lives. They come from, processing the length and the beauty of a day. They come from discussing, how we feel about our dogs and sons and daughters and loved ones. They come from watching the news and recognizing that, after that particular news story, you felt something. And part of your job is simply to communicate with somebody else exactly what it was you were feeling, trying to find the words to make them feel it too, possibly, or at least understand what you experienced. And the challenge is to not make it sound like something from the newspaper, but to use the craft of writing, using rhyme, or using even the pace of how you present it to make it more artistic, to make it musical even in some cases. Sometimes it's something you feel. Sometimes it's personal. So I'm going to read poems that might not ordinarily appear together from 3 different sources, from 2 different books that come out this year, and from my phone. As part of my commitment to April, every year with my friends, we do what we call the Dirty 30. I read a poem a day for 30 days in honor of National Poetry Month. And we don't get to edit them. We just have to write it, send them out. And we read everybody's poem and go into the next one. So the ones from here are very raw and rough. And it seems fair for students to be in that space so you can hear what it sounds like in the very beginning. So I'm going to read 1 or 2 of these first. And then something a little more polished. One of the things that you own as a writer or potential writer is your entire life's experience. A lot of writers draw from their childhood. You can't tell from there, but I still am very, very nearsighted. And when I was a kid, before they invented the very thin lenses, my glasses were so thick, the kids called me Coke bottle lenses and Mr. Magoo and all kinds of other ugly pejoratives, teasing me about my glasses. And I would always fall asleep reading because we didn't have a TV at home. I would wake up in the morning and my glasses would always be folded and on a table. And I would never know how that happened. until I got older. This is called Magic for Nina, who also wears glasses. When I was a kid, I thought it was magic the way the glasses that rode my heavy head would always be waiting safely, arms crossed, almost chiding me an arm's length away, resting on the cover of the now closed adventure that continued in my dreams, that may or may not have included a mother's stealth, her surgical hands, or a lamp that closed its eyes as soon as I closed all four of mine. So that's just a childhood memory, and you can almost hear the sweetness in that. Sometimes it's pure empathy. This is for a friend of mine who's just come out of a really difficult relationship. In fact, her husband was abusive, emotionally and physically. And she always, when her kids are with him, she can barely sleep because she worries about how he's treating them. So this is called Twin Sandwich, 1, Sun Thief 0. And twin sandwich is what she calls it when her daughters, who are twins, the first night they come home, the three of them sleep together in a twin sandwich. So I only ask because I wonder if you worry that the ugly formerly reserved for you is now being visited upon them, that they have become by proxy new, smaller, more defenseless targets, twin vessels, often return to us so full of bile, it takes 2 long nights of your own body's heat to love them back to their giggling, mini sunburst selves. I listen as the bird in your throat changes notes. See you turn up the temperature on a smile you know they can feel, even standing next to a stiff ice father who would police fun and laughter and joy and wonder and their womanhood too. I see you wrap a free arm across your breast, needing to make them feel the hugs reserved just for them, the ones on the back of your tongue, along with only a measured amount of your own longing, lest it smother the pilot, the secret girl light, the emergency fire that they might need to fight off the cold between the shuttling. I watch as you pace barefoot, lean towards the sunrise, towards their direction, trying to pour every liter of your love for them into the mouthpiece and across the phone line, reigniting the smell of your fresh-baked brownies, the oven's heat, the sounds of crowded kitchen collaborations, and the warmth always waiting in your family-sized bed. So you can feel the sweetness of that. And the third one from this month is it's kind of political, but it also comes from a similar kind of space. If you have a television, especially if it's been on ESPN, you could not have missed the commercials for the upcoming fight on May 2nd. Anybody seen it? Right. Mayweather versus Pacquiao, May 2nd. Right. The thing about Mayweather, at least, is that he has, I think, 5 convictions for domestic abuse. Right. He can't seem to turn off beating people up, even when he's with his ex-wife, ex-girlfriend, children. So this is an imagined conversation between him and himself. So this is called Mirror versus Mayweather. And the mirror speaks, then he speaks. You've got 5 convictions for domestic abuse in 14 years. Jab. If I did those things they say, there would have been pictures. Dodge. You struck the mother of your children in the face with a closed fist. Uppercut. I'm never going to be perfect. Only God can judge me. Dodge. You beat her in front of her children and threatened to beat them too. Jab. I've got 4 beautiful children who I care and provide for. Block. In any other American sport, you would have been suspended. Right cross. I've paid for my mistakes, and I spent 2 months in jail. Jab. When you step into the ring, Vegas cashes in, bob and weave. When I step into the ring, Vegas cashes in, rope-a-dope. Your narcissism, your opulence, your flamboyant lifestyle is disgusting, wild swing. I'm paid $100 million a year to beat people up. But I'll hit a woman for free if she crosses me, sucker punch. Right. So those mms mean you heard that. All right, so those are the brand new, fresh drinking ink ones. I'll read a few from here, and respect your time and get you up and out of these chairs, because there's a lot of food back there that you have to eat. And we have money to give away. Maybe I'll just read 3 more. Anybody have allergies other than me? Okay. This is called pollinatrix. April plays too damn hard. When she walks into the room, my sunny days change immediately to rain. She smiles until she has my full attention, opening her eyes like a slow motion jump rope. Then as soon as I'm in with both feet, she twists her hands around my neck until my eyes water and I can barely breathe. When I threaten to leave, she parts her tulips and kisses me on the nose. I write her poems. She pulls a tornado from under her skirt. She laughs when I can't stop sneezing, stands naked outside my window, then punishes me for coming out barefooted just to take a peek. April plays too damn hard, but when she walks into my room, my cold, rainy days get sunny again. That's a mean woman. Here's another childhood memory, and this, I bet this describes most of the young men in this room at one point in your life. It's called juvenile delinquents. The wrong path began when we unzipped our pants and peed on the old woman's flowers with glee. At 9 and 10, we tipped over garbage cans, raided gardens, and liberated candy from the convenience stores. At 12, we tortured cats, targeted innocent pigeons with pellet guns and rocks, and worse. Pretending to be older than our green years, we graduated to juke joints, learning things they didn't teach in Sunday schools. When we were not the first person hit on the dance floor by the stray bullet, when we crawled out the back, sprinted up the alley, and arrived back at the front door in time to sidestep the blood but stare death in the face, it was abundantly clear God didn't discriminate. There was no such thing as luck, and little devils had angels too. You know, I mentioned those glasses when I was a kid. My son, he got my eyes. So this is called Mr. Magoo and the Coke Bottle Kid. I learned the field of baseball by studying the direction of everyone else's attention, then searching for the path of the rapidly bending grass, dazzling my peers by seeming to wait until the last second to gather and deliver the ball. I didn't know how nearsighted I was until the Lions Club visited my 6th grade class, dragged me through an eyeball obstacle course, and I finally, without squinting, recognized the single letter E. On my first day outside with glasses, I rode all the way home with my mouth open when I discovered that the real world had sharp edges. My first family reunion found me grinning and posing with 27 kids and 27 pairs of glasses. I'd forgotten all of this until my son took his first 20/20 steps outside in the sun, proved he got more than his father's eyes, looked around and said, "It looks like God made everything new." That's my son. These last two, this next one is from watching the news, and there's a certain thing that keeps happening in the news over and over again. This is called Straight from the Playbook. Call the play. Decide who will take the shot. Pull the trigger until nothing is moving. and all testicles are empty. Cuff the body, call for backup, confiscate the cameras, plant the evidence. Say the suspect was resisting arrest. Say his eyes reached for the officer's gun. Say the officer feared for his life. Leak the victim's old mug shots to the press, or manipulate school photos until 12-year-old child looks 30. Highlight the victim's dark past, announce suspicious talk screen. Show images of prostrate body in the street. Say his father was absent. Cut to a shot of his grieving mother. Call press conference. Recast officer as victim. Praise the officer's military background and sterling record. Suspend him with a paid vacation. Cut to close-up of the officer surrounded by other officers and his loving family. Demand an apology for the defamation of his character. Raise money for his defense. Produce an anonymous witness. Claim the video was faked. Say the media sensationalized the story. Show black community rioting. Cut to joyous footage of young black boys holding up championship trophies and discussing what they would buy first with their new NBA wealth. Show white students rioting. Declare the shooting justified. Cock the trigger. Take another shot. And this last poem is actually part of a larger art project that involves tattoos. This poem is called Love Letters to the World, and it's mounted on top of a large graphic symbol that won't be revealed until this fall. But the poem has been translated into 10 languages, and over 1,500 people have phrases from the poem tattooed somewhere on their bodies all over the world. There's a video being made about this poem and the tattoo project that will be, I think it's going to be on MTV in September. It's called Love Letter to the World, and I'll leave you with this. And listen carefully in case one of these lines sounds like it deserves to be on your body. And then you go to the website, Love Letter to the World, and you can download the line and the image that goes with it. And then upload the video, the image of your tattoo, and it'll be put into the video that'll be aired at the end of the year. Love Letter to the World. I love you, world. Love your 7 different faces. Love your healing waters, wide and deep. Love the thing you have with the sun and the moon and what it teaches us about companionship, about change, about revolution. Love the mirror at your navel, how it shows off your hemispheres, is illustrating important lessons about balance, about reflection, about centering ourselves. Love how much like little worlds we are, how our earthquake is your shiver, your sneeze a tsunami, an avalanche, a mudslide. When you have hot flashes, we call it drought. You once covered your whole body with ice to cool a fever. When you weep daily over our continued ignorance, our epic failures and petty squabbles, our every transgression, your waters break and we are born again. Love your outreach, our mutual attraction, your gravitational pull. For every treasure we steal from your womb, you send us hail and thunderstorms. When we invent poisons and no antidotes and build monuments to ourselves, you send tornadoes and hurricanes to remind us of how small we truly are. And yet every day you continue to humble, inspire, and move us to tears with your natural beauty. Our own efforts to mimic your vistas are what we dare call art and dance, music and poetry, architecture and language, and love. It is the only thing we've ever gotten right. We can't pass the course on humanity if we keep failing the lessons on harmony and until we unlearn fear and hate. Thank you, world, for this open book exam before us, for still believing we are worthy of your love. We who love you, Black, already know that everything we do to you, we also do to ourselves. Thank you. Congratulations again. Let's give some money away. Yeah.
This is fun. Okay, I say this every time, and it's always true. It was really tough for the readers, including me, to look at all the entries and pick finalists. So I imagine that Frank had a difficult job as well in narrowing those down to 3 prize winners. So congratulations to everyone. So 3rd place goes to Ricky Boggs.
All right.
$1,000.
I wish. Congratulations. Oh yes, and let me say this before I forget. At the end, we would like the finalists, all the finalists, to come up and have a group picture. And so please don't leave. We also have monetary gifts for finalists as well. Okay. 2nd place goes to Carly Hauser. Buy your dog a gift. Yes, a new bone. A new bone. In 1st place, I've got a little deja vu going here, is Richard Polley.
Somebody said again.
Yeah, Richard won the essay competition last fall.
All right.
Yeah, you got a record going, Richard. Congratulations.
Yes, really good tutor.
So I want to thank everybody for coming, and please don't leave before you've eaten something, and also check out Frank's books. He's got lots of them for sale, and I can testify that I've read almost all of them. They're excellent. So thank you for coming.